Hey guys, this is John of AMC Movie Talk.
And you got your boy Ice Cube from the new movie 22 Jump Street.
And we want to remind you that his new movie opens June 13th in AMC theaters everywhere, and you can get your tickets now at amctheaters.com.
Get the tickets now, baby. It's funny. We got Jonah Hill, Channing Tatum. Look, we added a digit. It's 22 Jump Street. It's that much funnier. That means it's different than the first one. Go see the damn movie. It's at AMC, y'all.
What he said.
Hey everyone, welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show where we give you all of the latest news from the world of movies, plus a little bit of insight into what it all means. Joining us as always is AMC Movie News Editor-in-Chief, John Campea.
Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the internet, coming to you live from the Stream.TV studios here in Hollywood, California. We are so glad you decided to make us a part of your day.
Also here, AMC Movie News Production Manager, Dennis N.
Hey guys, I'm back. I've been gone like a week. It feels like a month. at the time that I left, I think the Kings were going into Game 7. Not sure if they were going to make the finals. Now they are one game away from having the Stanley Cup.
Again.
Yes.
Woo-woo! Also here, AMC's very own Alicia Malone.
Hello everyone, sitting in Schnepp's seat today, and I get excited when I look down at the list of topics on the side and you see David Fincher, The Room, Coen Brothers. Yeah, this is my jam.
As many of you know, filmmaker James Cameron is currently working on his upcoming 3 sequels to Avatar. Cameron previously surprised a lot of people by announcing actor Stephen Lang, who played the film's antagonist, Colonel Miles Quaritch, would be returning for the sequels. Now Cameron has done it again, revealing that actress Sigourney Weaver will also be returning for Avatar 2, 3, and 4. In a statement, Cameron said the following: "Sigourney and I have a long creative history dating back to 1985 when we made Aliens. We're good friends who've always worked well together, so it just feels right that she's coming back for the Avatar sequels." Her character of Grace Augustine, as fans know, died in the first movie, so she's playing a different and in many ways more challenging character in the upcoming films. John, your thoughts on Weaver returning for the Avatar sequels?
Well, I remember the first thing when I read the headlines about this, I thought, wait, he's bringing another one back from the dead? Like, what is he doing for 3, 4, 5? But then he's very specific. He says it's a different character. So obviously, I think what we're probably going to see, he doesn't come out and say it. What I'm interpreting from these comments is she's probably going to voice one of these other characters, probably another, character from that same world or whatever. Maybe it's an underwater character. I don't know. It's going to sound different. I mean, it's always possible that she could play an extension of her original character. Like, remember they tried to transfer her consciousness? What if it actually did work and now it's in a boat or something? Her consciousness, Sigourney Weaver is a boat in Avatar 2, 3, and 4. I don't know, but if they're going with a different character, then I have no problem with it. Directors find actors, and actors find directors that they're comfortable working with and like to do things with. This is great, but if they were going back to the well like they're doing with Stephen Lang about just take one of the characters who died in the first one and just bring him back to life, and they did it with a second character, that would have seemed odd. But like this, I'm fine. What do you think?
I like it, yeah, as long as she isn't her character in her human form. If she's like maybe the Avatar, maybe it did work, or she's a tree spirit or a water spirit or something like that, I'm good with it. With Stephen Lang, I'm okay as long as he's like some sort of deformed hybrid of like himself and one of the kind of darker creatures on Pandora, and they mix them together. But you're right about the whole directors and actors thing. I think having someone you're comfortable with is very important, because then you have that open communication, you have a relationship, there's trust there, and you can get the better performances out of them. And I think this is what the case is.
Alicia?
Well, I got to speak to Sigourney Weaver just last weekend. It was about Alien, the 35th anniversary that's coming up, but I kind of chucked in a few things about Avatar off camera, and I said, are you looking forward to going to New Zealand to shoot these movies? And I don't know if she was just being coy or just keeping things to herself, but she said, yeah, I can't wait to get there to shoot these films and to work again with James Cameron. So it'd be interesting to see how she ends up in Avatar, but there's so much they can do. I think she could be motion capture and be, not recognisable.
All right, what's next?
It's being reported that director David Fincher and actress Rooney Mara could be re-teaming for the upcoming Fox film Red Sparrow. The film was previously going to be directed by Darren Aronofsky, who exited the project earlier this year. Red Sparrow centers on two intelligence agents in modern-day Russia. Mara would be playing Russian spy Dominika Igorova, who's forced to become a sparrow trained in the art of seduction. She is instructed to use her skills against CIA officer Nathaniel Nash, who's in Russia handling his agency's most important Russian mole. Dennis, would you like to see Fincher and Mara do Red Sparrow?
Well, first off, I was lucky enough to see David Fincher speak live at
this weekend.
This weekend at the Produced By conference. It was very educational. In terms of this movie, I'm interested. I'm always up for spy thrillers, especially if they're well done and they got David Fincher behind this. I just started watching, what was that TV show on FX? The Americans. That's like kind of about Russian spies, but that's set in the 1980s during the Cold War. I'd like to see this as well because it's supposed to be a modern tale that's set now, and I want to see what post-Cold War Russia is doing. And having Rooney Mara in it, she did a great job in Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and we just talked about it with the James Cameron Sigourney Weaver thing.
Yeah.
It's always great when you have a director and an actor together that have that comfortability and they like working together and you can get the best performances. And I think this is the case here.
There's a lot of coincidences here because, like, story David Fincher, you just saw him this weekend. Mara, trained in the art of seduction. I, for several years, was trained in the art of seduction. So it's crazy. This would actually be their third time working together because a lot of people forget they also did The Social Network together.
Yeah.
Granted, her role was small. Look, the thing about Mara, she has blown me away every time I've seen her. Even when she's been in not great movies, that one she did with Channing Tatum last year.
Side Effect.
That Side Effect, not a great film. But I thought
great.
She owned the screen every second she's on it. And I'm in the minority, I understand, but I actually prefer their version of Girl with the Dragon Tattoo over the original. Very unpopular opinion, I know. And I really wish Sony could get their act together and get this get the sequel to that made, but this sounds like fun. Anytime you're getting into Russian-American, spy thriller, that espionage, this sounds great. With this pair, it just takes it to the next level. I'm excited for it. Alicia?
Yeah, espionage thriller seems perfect for David Fincher's style, which is very dark, film noir, lots of wide lenses and deep focus. I'm a Fincher fanatic, so I'll see anything that he makes. But I love this combination together. Rooney shone under his direction completely. She seems to work really well with his very perfectionist style. Famously, that opening scene in Social Network he did 99 times, and it was so wordy, but she just blew me away with that small role that she did. And in Side Effects, I thought she was great at showing multiple sides to a character.
Yeah.
So I can see her definitely playing a double agent.
All right, folks, we reached that part of the show for buy or sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Ashley's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down. Then Alicia, Dennis, and I are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Ashley, what do we got?
The upcoming Marvel film Guardians of the Galaxy hits AMC theaters everywhere on August 1st. But if you're going to be visiting Disneyland in California or Disney World Resorts in Florida, you can get an extended sneak peek at the film. Disney put out the following statement. At Disneyland Park in California, you can catch this limited-time intergalactic preview in 3D with special in-theater effects at the Magic Eye Theater in Tomorrowland, where Captain EO is typically shown. Captain EO is expected to return at a later date. For those of you visiting Walt Disney World Resort in Florida, you'll be able to experience the cosmic adventure of Guardians of the Galaxy at the ABC Sound Studio at Disney's Hollywood Studios, presented in spectacular Real D 3D, a new dimension of entertainment. Alicia, buy or sell Disney's statement?
Well, firstly, I can't believe I haven't seen Captain EO yet, because that sounds incredible. Michael Jackson, Francis Ford Coppola, what goes on? But I think this is a really clever idea. You know, Disneyland gets somewhere between 14 to 17 million visitors per year. Not that many people are aware of Guardians of the Galaxy as they are with other Marvel products. So I think it's very clever to get people in. I'm going to buy it. I would see it if I was at Disneyland.
Dennis?
I buy it as well. I mean, the whole point of Disney owning all these properties is because synergy. They want to use their theme parks and use exactly what you were saying, taking a property that's less known and making the casual mainstream audiences get more familiar with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's for a long time one of the big buzzwords in media has been ecosphere, right? Because it starts with Apple. Apple creates their computers, but then they create these iPods. But they create their iPods in such a way that you need to use them with their computers. Then the iPhones are out. You have to sync it with iTunes. So they create this environment, if you will, where everything plays with each other within there, and it feels like Disney is capitalizing on their own entertainment ecosphere, right? They've got Disneyland. They got their Marvel stuff. I'll be honest with you, I don't even like the Captain EO thing. I didn't even think it was, I know, everybody loves it. And I saw it for the first time, like, this is terrible. But anyway, so why not leverage this huge monster of a property you have, like literally property you have, with Disneyland and Disneyland Resorts, to prop up the most risky of the Marvel films they've done so far, interchange them and everything. This is a brilliant move to take advantage of that on both ends. So yeah, I'm all for it. It's a buy.
My question is, though, how come they haven't made a Marvel Universe theme park or Star Wars theme park yet?
Oh, you know it's coming.
I know, but are they going to make it like just a land as part of like, Tomorrowland? Is it going to be Marvel Land, Star Wars Land, or are they going to full on, here's a theme park?
The Marvel Universe.
Yeah,
That'd be
correct
awesome.
me if I'm wrong, but I thought I heard that they have plans to do like a
Full-on
Star Wars park.
That'd be awesome. It should be next to the Marvel park.
Right next to the Marvel park. All right, what's next?
The film The Room is considered by many to possibly be the worst film ever created. So bad that it has achieved an almost cult classic status, and it still has screenings in Los Angeles every month. James Franco recently acquired the film rights to the book, chronicling the making of The Room, and will star in the film as The Room's creator and star Tommy Wiseau. This week, Franco's brother, Dave Franco, revealed that he will be playing The Room's co-star and writer of the behind-the-scenes book, Greg Sestero. John, buy or sell Franco and Franco playing Wiseau and Sestero.
This is the strangest bit of getting two brothers to play these other... Weird, but there is nothing about The Room or the world that surrounds it that is not weird. If you have not seen The Room, first of all, don't watch it by yourself. Get a group of people. Because remember the first time I saw it, I don't know if it was your first time.
My first time as well.
Yeah, it was Dennis and I, this is going back, 3 years ago. We were at our buddy Chuck Norris's, and we had like 20 of us there, and he goes, okay, guys.
Your buddy Chuck Norris, I love it.
That's his real name. I'm going to show you something. Just sit down and watch. There's like 20 of us in the room, and he puts in this movie, The Room, which I had heard about.
Yes.
And it is truly the most awful, terrible film you've ever seen, but like Ashley was saying, it's so bad that it will never leave your mind. It achieves this cult classic style. We were just at WonderCon and Tommy Wiseau was there with his own big booth, and it was never not packed with people. People all around wanted to stand there. And so watching a movie about the story behind that movie in a weird, self-injuring kind of way, I am oddly drawn to this. I am finding myself excited about the idea. And then when you put it in those terms, Franco getting Franco to play the buddy suddenly makes sense to me. So I am completely on board with this. I love it. It's a buy. Dennis?
I have a different take. I have The Room is hilarious, unintentionally, of course. So I buy James Franco as Tommy Wiseau. I buy Dave Franco as Greg Sestero. I don't buy them together in the same movie as those two characters because the whole time I'm just going to be thinking of them as brothers. They look the same. They have the same mannerisms. They talk very similarly. And, if you see this picture over here with Tommy Wiseau and Greg Sestero, they're nothing alike.
It's true.
If you've ever seen The Room, they are nothing alike. So I'm afraid that I'm just going to be looking at the Franco brothers instead.
Alicia?
You're tearing me apart, Lisa.
You're tearing me apart.
I can just see James Franco doing that line perfectly. It's a buy for me. Like you said, John, it's such a weird concept that I love it. I remember seeing James Franco's film As I Lay Dying in Cannes, and it was really artsy and over the top and crazy and strange. That's perfect for a film about The Room. I also love what James Franco said in Vice magazine about the book that the film will be adapted from. That he sees it as a mixture between Boogie Nights and The Master, which I think is really interesting. James Franco, no P.T. Anderson, but that influence is intriguing to me. Plus, Dave Franco, I think he's a great actor, so I can totally see him.
I love Franco in Neighbors. And the other really cool thing about this story, the way it became known that Dave Franco was going to play Greg Sestero, was that in Los Angeles, they have a monthly screening. I can't remember which theater it is, but they have a monthly screening. Is it the Regent? Yeah. So they have a monthly screening of The Room, and Tommy Wiseau shows up most of the time. And he was doing a Q&A after the screening this past week. And then Dave Franco stands up. Says, I got a question. Tommy, what do you think about the fact that I'm going to be playing Greg Sestero in the movie? And that's how they made the announcement, which I thought was pretty funny.
Tommy said, yeah, I like it.
Yeah, he said, I like it. The audience went crazy.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
It's been announced that actor Josh Brolin will join George Clooney in the upcoming Coen brothers film Hail Caesar. The film will mark Clooney's 4th film with the Coens and Brolin's 2nd. Hail Caesar follows a man named Eddie Mannix in his job as a Hollywood fixer in the 1950s. Dennis, buy or sell how Hail Caesar is taking shape?
I'll buy it, but although I'm going to say something sacrilegious in this town of Hollywood, I like the Coen brothers. I don't love them like other people do. Most people around, here in the entertainment industry, they love the Coen brothers, and I appreciate their work. I think they're very great technically. Their movies just don't speak to me like other filmmakers do.
Sure, yeah.
So, but I always enjoy and I'm looking forward to their movies. I like Brolin and Clooney, and then it seems like a theme of this episode, they've worked with the Coen brothers before, so there's that factor of that trust factor, and hopefully, their last movie with Brolin was an Oscar-winning one, so who knows about this one.
Alicia?
I'm buying, I can't believe you said that, Dennis. I love Coen brothers. No, definitely understand that they're not for everyone, their style. But they're great at period pieces, so I like that this is out of the 50s. 50s Hollywood is my favourite era. So glamorous, the age of the studio system and the big star, and so much interesting stuff going on behind that very glamorous front. So I love that George Clooney is back with them. I hope it's a comedy. It sounds like it could be almost a comedic version, more comedic version of Barton Fink. That would be really interesting. And Clooney himself, he models himself somewhat on Cary Grant, so he looks like he's straight out of the 50s too. So I'm buying it on all fronts here.
I'm going to buy it too, and the reason I'm going to buy it is because even though I've gone on record, I am not on the Josh Brolin fan wagon at all. I have not been. He might win you over. I've not been impressed with him in anything he's done in the last number of years, but he was magnificent in No Country for Old Men. Because sometimes, there are certain actors, this seems to be the theme today, there are certain actors that they have a particular director or set of directors that know how to get the best out of them. And Brolin in No Country for Old Men was amazing. In my opinion, he almost upstaged Javier Bardem, which is, I don't know if I'm willing to actually say he really did, but, but seriously, I'd say there's an argument to be made, is that Bardem was the more flamboyant kind of character.
He held his own.
But Brolin was solid in that. And to see him now get back together with these directors who got that performance out of him makes me excited. I'm always excited for anything Clooney does. He epitomizes Hollywood to me. So overall, for me, it's a buy. All right, folks, well, listen, if you ever have a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. And every day we take a little bit of time and take a couple of questions out of the mailbag. I'm going to let you know, though, if you're watching us live right now, you can send in some live Twitter questions right now, and we'll save a few minutes at the end of the show to address your live Twitter questions. So you can tweet those questions to us right now by tweeting to us at AMC Movie News. Ashley will pick out a couple at the end, but for now, it's time for the mailbag questions. So, Ashley, what do we got?
Aaron Tansman writes, hey guys, love your show. My question is, do you think Will Ferrell and Steve Carell could host the Oscars together? They work so well together and are both hilarious. There have been some great Oscars shows with two hosts, i.e. Steve Martin and Alec Baldwin in 2010, but it can also go really wrong. Anne Hathaway and James Franco in 2011. In my opinion, Ferrell and Carell could give us a great and entertaining show. What do you think? And which two actors would you like to see host the Oscars? Thanks, and keep up the great work.
I love the idea. As a matter of fact, I completely love the idea. I love it for two reasons. Number one, I have no doubt in my mind that these two together would be extremely entertaining. Steve Carell is not just a great straight man. If you ever watched him do live stuff, whether it's interviews or whether it's on stage, whatever, he is one of the quickest-witted guys I've ever seen in the business. And him and Will Ferrell play off each other so well. I think they would be amazing. And here's the second reason why I like this. And this is a peeve of mine. It's just mine, but it is what it is. I hate it when non-movie personalities host the biggest night of the year in movies.
Yeah.
I don't want a TV host hosting the Oscars. I just don't. To me, it's just symbolic. You have a movie person host the biggest night of the year in movies. These two are bona fide movie personalities. They'd be funny. They'd be entertaining. They're smart. They know the business. Everybody knows them. I think it would be incredible, so I'm all for it. What do you think, Alicia?
I think it'd be really entertaining. I think I'd love to see this combination. You know who else I'd love to see is someone like George Clooney or Tom Hanks host.
Yeah.
These two very charismatic Oscar-winning actors. I'd also love the combination of Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy. I think those two together would be hilarious, and they're Oscar winners. But yeah, Ferrell and Carell, they'd make a great double act.
Dennis?
Well, personally, I don't have a problem with TV personalities hosting the Oscars. I mean, Will Ferrell and Steve Carell are both former TV personalities that are now bigger movie stars. In terms of them hosting, I think it's a great idea. I also liked when Steve Martin and Alec Baldwin did it. So if if they come back and do it, I'd be totally good with that. Or even Steve Martin solo. I think he's just hilarious.
Martin, I'm not going to tell the same story again, but to me, Martin he was so good the last time he hosted the Oscars solo. I mean, he was just so great. But I also remember this one year, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, they did a couple of skits during the Oscars that was... Oh gosh, it was Owen Wilson and Ben Stiller doing some things like changing costumes and whatever and stuff. And it was so funny. And somebody brought up to me, "Hey, these two guys should host the Oscars together some year." And that would actually really work. But there's a lot of really good combinations you could do. All right, what's next?
Mr. Morrance writes, "Hello AMC crew, longtime viewer here. With all the characters Marvel have that can be adapted to film, do you think they'll have one crowded universe, or will they introduce another universe? How many characters can occupy one universe? If Ant-Man is a comedy, could it be separate from the Avengers universe?"
It's actually an interesting question, because one of my concerns about these cinematic universes, especially the superhero cinematic universes, is that one of the things that is so amazing about superhero movies is being captured, and I use this phrase all the time, but being captured by the fantastic in the mundane. You know, when you see Thor, this straight out of Norse mythology, coming down with this hammer and, you know, taking out all the bad guys with this hammer and lightning and all that kind of stuff. It is the fantastic within the mundane that makes it so awe-inspiring and so wonderful. And then you add Captain America, and then you add Iron Man, you add the Hulk, you add Ant-Man, you add Doctor Strange, you add this guy, you add that guy, you add that. Suddenly now, it moves from being the fantastic within the mundane to the ordinary within the mundane. Now, there ceases to be something terribly special about a superhero that pops up. It's like, oh yeah, we've got thousands of these types of people in this universe, right? So that's the danger. Will Marvel actually have Ant-Man as its own universe, separated from the Avengers? Not a chance. No, not a chance. I mean, Ant-Man, there's a reason they're saying he's a part of Marvel Phase 3. It's all the same universe. But I did speculate once they got Daredevil and Punisher back and stuff like that, I speculated that they could create a second cinematic universe where Thor and Hulk and all those guys don't exist, but it's the world that's inhabited by Daredevil and Punisher, and you could go darker, and you might even be able to flirt with R kind of stuff. I didn't see them being able to do it together, but I just don't think Marvel will ever split their universes. What do you think?
I think, well, speaking of what you're talking about with the fantastic and the mundane, it also brings out great comedy bits as well.
True,
you know, Thor hanging up his hammer, in the little car, that type of stuff. But in terms of Marvel doing it, not a chance at all, because it's their strategy. It's been their strategy the whole time to weave all these things together, and it's been working out great for them. Look at their box office numbers, you know. Normally, something like Captain America. Remember the first Captain America? It did okay, it did well, but the second one did so much better because of Avengers and all the stuff leading up to it, and it's their strategy. And I have friends who, they aren't big, like, huge movie fans like we are, or people at home that are watching, but guess what? They will watch anything Marvel. They have no clue about all this stuff, but because, let's say, Guardians of the Galaxy comes out or Ant-Man comes out, it's Marvel's attached to it, they'll be like, well, I like what they're doing with all the other stuff, I have to see that. So that's like, it's free money.
Alicia?
I can imagine it can get confusing. Like, why doesn't that character just call that character to help? Like, he would fix that in an instant.
Yeah.
But so far, they've really proven that they're able to handle so many different characters within the one universe. At the very beginning, I would have said, oh, might make sense to have one universe that is in space, one universe that is on Earth, and keep them separate. But obviously, they haven't done that. So yeah, all one shared universe. And they've so far been able to manage all the different tones of the movie as well, because the question said about it being a comedy, is it being different, but there's been many different tones to every film, and they all work together really nicely.
All right, folks, well, we said we'd leave a few minutes at the end of the show for your live Twitter questions, and we're going to do that right now. So if you're watching us live, and by the way, we do this show live every day, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's Los Angeles time. So if you are watching us right now, tweet in. You might have just enough time to get in your questions to @AMC Movie News. So, Ashley, what have you picked out for us?
Brian Lomax writes, in your opinion, what is the best female-led movie of all time? I vote Thelma and Louise or Aliens. P.S. Great show.
Alien is hard to argue against. Terminator 2 being led by Sarah Connor, because that's Sarah Connor's film more than the Terminator's film. Misery is a movie that haunts me. That movie haunts me. Let me think about it for a few minutes. Alicia, what pops in the top of your head?
Well, yeah, Thelma and Louise definitely is a great duo. I love Alien because of something I've said before, which is Ripley and all the characters actually being written without a gender, which actually made them really interesting. I thought the same of Edge of Tomorrow, that Emily Blunt's character is genderless, and that makes her really cool and strong warrior. And I love the comedies like The Heat of Bridesmaids. Yeah,
oh, love that
and Carrie
movie.
with Sissy Spacek. Yeah, there's been so many.
What jumps into your head, Dennis?
Yeah, I mean, right now, just Aliens and Terminator 2, but I'm trying to think of non-genre films in terms of, like, more just dramatic films. Like, it's tough. It's tough.
Devil Wears Prada.
Devil Wears Prada. I even like Inner World, which was the indie
the one
by
with Lake Bell.
Yeah, I thought she did a really great job.
Lake Bell is actually one of my Hollywood crushes.
Yeah.
I love
Me
Lake
too.
Bell.
I've got a
I
girl
really,
crush.
really do. All right, what's next?
Okay, Brian Harris writes, what are some movies you saw that were great in theater but hard to finish at home? For me, it's Avengers.
I can watch that movie at home 50 times. Wow. I mean, I've had a few movies that I've watched in theater that I didn't like that then later I watched again and thought, why didn't I like this? But movies that I really liked in theater that later I didn't, I can't think of any. I know I have some, but I just can't think of them off the top of my head. What about you guys?
I think it's probably like the big biopics or the big war epics that are great to see in cinema, and they come on screen or you look at them on Netflix and you think, yeah, it's just a bit hard work, really. Can't really watch that right now. Just go for something easy.
I don't know about movies like so much that I liked and then ended up disliking when I saw them again. But I've seen movies where I thought were fantastic, and then maybe later when I saw them again, I'm like, oh, they weren't as great as I thought they were. And one of those was, and everyone loves this movie, is Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump I thought was so great when the first time I saw it, but after a few more viewings, I'm like, okay, it's still good, but it's not as good as I thought it was.
I've got one that's almost identical to that. But I think it's more the nature of the movie. It was Borat for me. Because the first time I saw Borat, not only because of how funny it was, but I thought as a commentary on society and our culture, really Borat is incredibly intelligent in the sense and the way it holds up a mirror to us, and we actually see the ridiculousness within ourselves. And I came out and I was blown away by it. And I kid you not, the first time I saw the movie, I gave that movie a 10. I've only given like 7 10s in my life, and I gave that movie a 10. And then I watched it again, and I just think it's the nature of that movie. I didn't nearly have the same experience with it. So I revoked my 10 from it, but that's just more than me. Yeah.
And I think even recently, Anchorman 2, I really enjoyed when I saw in cinemas, and then rewatching it, I'm like, oh yeah, there's a lot of problems here.
It was a step back from the first one. I liked it still, but it was a step back from the first one. All right, what else we got?
Ariel Noel writes, any news on the Mark Wahlberg and Jennifer Lopez film Cocaine Cowboys?
I actually haven't heard anything about it in ages.
No, they just did a sequel to the documentary.
Yeah, I haven't heard that it's not happening, but have you guys heard anything else?
No.
All right, what's next?
Langley M. Neely writes, can you name a movie that is universally loved and adored by almost everyone else in the world, but you personally can't stand?
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. Blade Runner. These are the ones that my friends get mad at me most for all the time. Blade Runner, and everybody in the world who is far smarter than me loves that movie. For me, it's just dumb. But everybody loves it, so I will acknowledge it as one of the great, most influential sci-fi films ever. It's just saying for me. The other one, and I have other friends who really get mad at me when I say it, I've mentioned before, Halloween. I thought the original Halloween was... You watch that movie doesn't hold up. It just doesn't. But everybody else loves it, so fine, I'm in the minority. And I want to be careful here. It's not that I don't think this movie isn't really, really good, but I do not see how it is put on the pedestal that it is, which is Citizen Kane. I think Citizen Kane's really good, but I just don't see why it's got that lofty of how it's revered that much. But that's just me. There are a lot of people who are a lot smarter than me who do hold those movies really up. What about you guys? You got any of those types of films?
Well, speaking of Citizen Kane, I'm actually kind of more on your side there because, you know, watching it has a lot of cool technical camera techniques that aid in storytelling. But when you watch the movie as a whole, the pacing is very slow and just like there's a lot of things that I think some people overlook for it. So in terms of movies that I don't like, because I do like Citizen Kane,
Yeah.
I don't think it's the end-all be-all of movies. Crash won an Academy Award. I didn't really care for it. I thought it was so heavy-handed in terms of like, oh, racism, it's everywhere, and I don't know.
It was a very heavy-handed movie. What about you, Alicia?
I do love Citizen Kane. I think because I studied it at school and it's so fascinating to me in terms of the behind-the-scenes story. But for me, those kind of fantasy movies that were around when I was young, like Neverending Story and Willow and Labyrinth, I didn't like it.
Labyrinth is one for me. I mean, I did love Neverending Story. I did love Willow. But Labyrinth for me is one that I've never loved as much as most of my friends love.
Yeah.
All right, let's take two more quick ones.
Hey, Vince Miracle writes, hey guys, love the show. My question is, could we ever see a rebooted Matrix movie or possibly another sequel?
There was a rumor out, a really unfounded rumor out a little while ago about they're looking at redoing the Matrix movies. I don't think so. I really don't, and I don't think there was any weight to that, so I don't think we're going to see those. What do you guys think?
I think maybe if Jupiter Ascending, which has been delayed to next year, doesn't do very well.
Because they know it's not going to do well.
For the Wachowski brothers, they might go back to the well. Because we've heard so many times people like, oh, I'm never going to do that again. And guess what they do? Vin Diesel with Fast and Furious. You had Sylvester Stallone with Rocky and Rambo. Just like when things aren't working.
Arnold with Terminator now. He's going to do Conan again.
Exactly. So once things aren't working, sometimes you go back to what was.
But would the studio let them?
Maybe.
Would they pay for it?
Maybe they push for another
franchise.
sequel. Maybe they push for another one to see if they could make more money out of it. But it was so complete within itself. I don't want to see a reboot. I think just leave it as it is, but I don't like reboots anyway.
All right, one more.
Sean Horan writes, do you think there will be a White Chicks 2?
Oh, no. Please, no.
My wife loves that movie.
It's so great.
God.
My wife and my brother-in-law, Ray, love that movie. I don't get it. I don't see it. No, I don't think there's any chance. There will be a White Chicks 2. I don't think there's interest on the studio side. I don't think there's interest in the audience side, and I don't think there's interest in the performer side either. So that's 3 strikes. I don't think we're going to see it.
I can't watch more than like a few minutes of it. Like as soon as like they come on screen, it just creeps me the hell out, and I just like that's it. I got to change the channel. It's so freaky.
I will say, I will give it this. It's got its moments. Like, it's got its moments. Well, that's all I can say. I don't know.
Did they kind of do a splash of White Chicks 2 and Amazing Spider-Man 2 with Electro? Does look a bit like it, but I hate the Wayans brothers movies. I respect them as people, but all their films are just cringeworthy, and they're another ones that I just don't get that a lot of people love. But yeah, so hopefully no White Chicks 2.
All right, folks. Well, that'll do it for us on this installment of AMC Movie Talk. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, don't forget, lots of great films playing at AMC Theaters right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for your theater, showtime, and movie ticket information. One of the movies opening up this weekend, of course, is 22 Jump Street. A lot of us have seen it, and it is... Actually, we were in the same screening, weren't we?
Yeah,
it is
funny.
effing hilarious.
Yeah.
It is so good. So you can go get your tickets for that right now. Also, don't forget, if you have not done so already, subscribe to our YouTube channel and click that thumbs up button as a way of letting us know that you like the show that we're doing here. And listen, if you want an audio-only version of the show, look in the description of this video and you'll find links to our iTunes and our Stitcher Radio so you can subscribe to our podcast and listen to us on the way to work. I want to thank the people sitting at the table with me. First of all, sitting to my right, Mr. Dennis Zen. Dennis, where can people find you online?
You guys can find me on Twitter @ThinkHero or on YouTube ThinkHero Pro.
And of course, the one, the only, Alicia Malone. Alicia, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter or Instagram @Alicia Malone or malonesmovieminute.com.
And our lovely host today, Miss Ashley Mova. Ashley, where can people find you online?
You guys can find me on Twitter @AshleyMova, and I'm starting a petition for white chicks too. Fingers crossed.
And you can find me on the various social media networks @JohnCampy. I'm going to let you know about a little something I'm doing on the side, too. I'm now producing a series of after shows, and tonight we are starting, for those of you, I don't know how many of you watching this show would also be fans of Pretty Little Liars, but season 5 starts tonight, and I'm producing an after show for that starring Ashley Mova, who's in it, and a number of other amazing hosts are going to be hosting that show. Join us on the stream.tv tonight after you watch, of course, Pretty Little Liars for the Pretty Little Liars after show on the stream.tv fan show network. My name's John Campia, folks, for AMC Movie News, and until next time, bye-bye.
Hey everyone, if you like this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.